Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Yanetta Spring of Springforth Counseling here in Tennessee, and I wanted to hop on really quickly and share a question that has been coming up a lot. It's been coming up in sessions with my clients. It has been coming up with just in regular conversations, and I recently had the opportunity to expound and share some insight on this question on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show on the Talk It Out Tuesday segment. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out on Tuesday mornings, I'm available to just offer support, offer resources, and insight on various mental health and wellness concerns. All right. So the question I have is, how do I encourage my friend or my loved one to go to therapy? Right. Okay, so this happens so often, right? You see a friend, you see a loved one, you see somebody that you care about, you see them struggling, you kind of witness this. You feel like you've done everything you can do within your power to help this individual. And it's kind of obvious that they need some professional help or they need some additional support. And that's support that you feel like you aren't able to provide to them. And that's fine. That's why we're here. But whenever the topic comes up, maybe they're not receptive or they're not open to therapy and you're becoming frustrated with it. So this happens, like I said, this happens so often. And oftentimes when it comes up, there can be this idea that the individual is choosing not to get the help that they need, or they like being depressed, or they want to be anxious because if they didn't, then they would just do whatever needs to be done to fix it, right? So one thing that I want to put out there, that mental illness is an actual illness, okay? It's not a choice, right? So if someone is depressed or they're struggling or they're dealing with some sort of mental illness, their capacity and their ability to do things that seem normal or seem like if you want help, just go do this, for them it's a lot more challenging, right? So I want to encourage you guys to just have patience and have grace with someone that may be struggling, because it is very challenging to get up and to do the everyday typical things when you're dealing with mental illness. Okay. So I wanted to put that out there first and foremost. All right. So that's the first point. The second point is, I think it's important to be able to ask that person how you can support them. Okay. So if you know somebody that's struggling, asking them, how can I support you? What do you need from me? Because sometimes we can look at a situation and we can want to jump in and rescue, or we can say, oh, well, they need this, so I'm just going to do this for them or do that for them. But that might not be what they actually need. So I think it's important, number one, to ask them, how can I support you? If they're coming to you with their problems, or if they're coming to you with their concerns, I think it's good for you to have an idea of how you can support them, right? So number two is just what I said, having an idea of how you can support them. So number one is asking them, how can I support you? And then number two is for you to know what you are willing to do to support them, right? Because boundaries are important, right? And if you're not willing to stay on the phone to 2 o'clock in the morning talking about the same issue over and over again with them, then it's okay for you to set a boundary around that, or it's okay for you to say, hey, I can support you in this way, but I'm unwilling to support you in this way. It's not mean, it's not selfish. It's okay for you to communicate your boundaries with them. So number one, ask them how you can support them. And then number two, know your own personal boundaries and how much you're willing to do to support them. Okay. So those are one and two, right? Number three is be mindful of timing. Okay. Timing is everything. And I think sometimes when you're dealing with somebody who has like a mental illness, or they're dealing with struggles, oftentimes therapy is encouraged or introduced when they're in a very low point, and or when you are extremely frustrated with them. And I think it's important to monitor and manage when you decide to tell them or talk to them about therapy. Okay, you want to make sure that it's, if possible, a neutral space. You want to make sure that it's not kind of fronting them, well, if you're in the midst of an argument or some kind of disagreement and you're throwing the therapy card at them, that can be kind of offensive, especially if they know that they're already dealing with something and they're kind of battling with the idea of going to therapy. It can be a low blow for you to bring it up when you're around a bunch of people or, in a harsh way. So you want to be mindful to communicate, introducing therapy to them in a gentle and in a compassionate way, in a caring way, so that they can hear your heart and not feel like they're being judged or attacked, right? And then the last thing is making sure that you get the support that you need. Caring for somebody who is dealing with mental illness or worrying about somebody who is unwilling to go to therapy can be hard. So making sure that you are connected with your support system, that if you need to get therapy so that you can manage and deal with the fact that this family member is unwilling to get therapy, that you have somebody in a safe space where you can talk to someone about that. And then also getting support. There are several support groups. NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness, has a lot of support groups for caretakers or family members of those who suffer with mental illness. Churches, could have various support groups. So just kind of being mindful that while you are caring and, concerned about your loved one, that you still have to care and be concerned about yourself, and being sure that you are getting the help that you need in the process of caring for them. So that's what I have for you. Very quick. First, asking them, instead of you telling them what you can do for them, asking them what they need from you, right? And then the second one is being mindful of what you're willing to offer them, okay? And then thirdly, being mindful of the timing and the space and where you're communicating your concerns to them. And lastly, you getting the support that you need. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. If you guys have any questions or any suggestions, feel free to drop them down in the thread. I love to continue to have this conversation because it comes up so often, and it just shows that you're a caring person, that you love, and you're concerned about the people that are connected to you. And that's a good thing. We want to make sure that they get the help that they need and that they're not further pushing back or pushing away or isolating because of how you approach them with this, with the concern. So hope you all have a wonderful evening. Again, I'm Yanetta Smith, Springforth Counseling. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Springforth Counseling. You can follow me on Twitter at Yanetta Spring. And then also, if you want to connect with me and receive resources, you can feel free to text SPRING to 44555. Or is that 55444? Text me at 55444. All right. You all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.